Chloe. This time, the story isn't just about the case file of the Korean-Canadian pastor. It's about the soul of a man trapped in that cold, hard record. Was he a devil with the face of a saint, or a scapegoat sacrificed at the altar of state power? To find the answer, let's step into that 967-day darkness together. The winter of 2015. A blizzard was threatening to swallow the Toronto skyline, but the world was on fire with a breaking news story. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the RCMP, announced they had taken down a massive international sex trafficking ring that had exploited over 500 Asian women. Their press release was as decisive and clean as a movie trailer. A vast criminal enterprise luring women behind the mask of student visas and pulling them into dark condos. The world was enraged, and at the heart of that rage was the face of one man. A man remembered in the Korean community for his gentle smile and his worn-out Bible. A pastor who patted children's heads and held the cold hands of his congregation. The administrative director of a private school, John Dae-Koon, alias. Overnight, the brand of devil was seared onto his face. People whispered. Behind the most sacred of faces, they said, hid the most depraved of desires. The RCMP's case file read like a tightly wound thriller. In the dark wiretap room of Project Confidence, a nightly stream of voices thick with sticky desire and the smell of money flowed from the recorders. And floating through those voices like a dose was the name Director John. In a emphasis, visa problems? Talk to Director John. The money? Through John's route. On an investigator's monitor, the word director, Shiljong, was translated into boss. In a reflective tone, perhaps the entire tragedy began with the mistranslation of that single word. The evidence piled up, the tens of thousands in cash exchanged with traffickers, the promises to sort out visa issues, and the private school, what the RCMP saw as the perfect front for the crime. A place of trust used to forge admissions letters, a clean name like tuition fees used to launder dirty money. It was a compelling scenario. 8 heavy charges pressed down on his shoulders, and the cold steel door of a Montreal detention center slammed shut behind him with a deafening clang. Time seeped into his soul like the chill from the cement walls. 967 days. As the seasons changed nearly 3 times outside, he was cut off from the world. He was a stranger among murderers and robbers. The indecipherable French and English chatter of the prison corridor floated around him, and he survived, he said, only on prayer. My God, why have you forsaken me? He asked the same question every night, but hopelessly, the only answer was the wind rattling his cell's iron bars. His memory became a worn-out film, rewound and replayed until it frayed. The frantic voice of the trafficker Park, the fawning smile of the other, Renee, the texture of the thick cash envelope handed to him as rent. Where did it all go wrong? A simple favor, a routine contract, they had somehow morphed into a monstrous trap that now held him captive. Outside, his colleague, Director Kim, was fighting a lonely battle. They say there are 500 victims, so why can't I see a single one of their faces? This is like a ghost murder with a victim but no witnesses, he cried. But the world was captivated by the sensational word boss and had no time for his questions. Conspiratorially, on the eve of his 21st month in prison, just before Christmas, the prosecutor made an offer like a whisper from the devil himself. His exhausted lawyer placed a single sheet of paper in front of him. Just admit to one thing, a minor document forgery by another teacher, something you weren't even involved in. Admit to it, and you can spend Christmas with your family tomorrow. They'll even throw in a plane ticket and some cash. Freedom. Between that sweet word and the heavy word innocence, his soul was torn apart. The desire to just get out, to escape this hell, rose in his throat. But in the end, he refused. The moment he admitted to a crime he didn't commit, he felt he would lose his true self forever. He refused the deal, and the system responded in the most bizarre way. The prosecution suddenly dropped all of his major charges, and finally, on the day of the trial that was supposed to prove his innocence, he walked into the courthouse full of hope, but the court docket was mockingly blank. There is no trial scheduled for that name. Not today, not ever. This case is simply closed. The clerk's voice, dry and indifferent, echoed in the empty hall. After 967 days, he returned to the world. He said he ate his first meal of kimchi jjigae in 32 months, mixing the stew with his own tears, but the world he returned to was not the one he had left. Gravely, the law gave him a piece of paper that said, "Not guilty," but the world had branded his forehead with a digital scarlet letter. Just recently, he was rejected when he tried to open a bank account. A single news article from 9 years ago reached out from the past, holding his present captive. He is legally a free man, but perhaps he is now trapped in a bigger, invisible prison, a permanent prison of data servers. Chloe, what is the truth? Was he a master criminal who cleverly slipped through the cracks of the law, or was he an innocent man whose life was sacrificed for a high-profile operation? A life mortgaged to the ambitions of state power? The answer, even after 9 years, is lost in a thick fog. But one thing is certain. Whatever the truth is, a man's life was irrevocably destroyed, and that is the only and the most tragic truth of this story.